Welcome, everybody, to the Advanced Selling Podcast, the longest running sales training podcast in the history of podcasts, sneaking up on 18 years. My name is Brian Neal.
My name is Bill Caskey.
We are so glad that you're here. We had a very, very, very thoughtful, moving thank you at the end of last episode. I want to pick up from that because Bill and I have been doing this a long time. We love doing it. We love, you can probably tell if you listen long enough, we love doing it. These podcasts don't exist without people listen to them. No. So we're super thankful. Some of you have been listening for almost 18 years. Some of you just found it. You just graduated from college. Like, oh, it's a cool podcast. I'm going to check this out. And it just happened. I didn't say this in the last episode, but I was connecting with someone today, and I found this COO of this company that I was just totally randomly for something totally unrelated to what we do, even unrelated to Blind Zebra. Guys in the Advanced Selling Podcast Group. Mm-hmm. It's like what? And he runs a company. He's a CEO of a company based in Chicago, and he lives in Atlanta. Never met the guy ever. He's a COO. And I'm like, and I just saw that this morning. I'm like, how cool is that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just a really neat thing. We got a great.
So he's in the Advanced Selling Podcast LinkedIn group.
Okay. He is. Yeah. Shameless plug. So you should be, listener.
Therefore.
You should also be an insider. For sure. That's the monthly program that Bill runs, coaching program, live program. Great time to join as we go back to school, get back in the year strong, that sort of thing. I know Bill's going to do some great in the year stuff.
We do have some good stuff planned. Yeah, go to advancedsellingpodcast.com/insider. There's a video there. And if you're interested, and also, we have not talked about this, but the 12 Bold Moves book.
Oh, where's that? You looking? I can see Bill's frantically looking for his
across the room. I can't get to it. Anyway, we took some of the content from Insider in the last 12 months, and we put it into a book. It's called 12 Bold Moves. We'll put it in the show notes. You can go get access to it there. But I had a story that I wanted to share with you, and you've raised two boys or three? Three,
yeah.
Not three.
I'm a bonus kid now, so it'll be 4 total.
Oh yeah, 4 boys. Wow. Well, you're all boy acclimated. In our family, it's almost all girls. So when boys come along, we think, okay, there's a blank slate here. So my wife and I took our twin grandkids, boy, girl, 7 years old, down to Mammoth Cave.
Kentucky.
And so it gave us a chance to spend the weekend together, and it was fun. They're just delightful kids, and so Evan, who's the boy, he and I were out one day. We just went down and got a drink, and I said, "Hey, I'm always trying to teach him something, stupid stuff." But I feel like sometimes boys don't get the common sense stuff. Now, his father does a great job with him, but sometimes a guy my age can bring stuff up that father wouldn't.
Get it?
So I said, "Hey, Evan, if you ever go over to a neighbor's house and help pick up sticks or help bag, garbage, just something, and the person offers you money for it, like says, 'Hey, Evan, thanks for helping me out with these sticks and weeds. Here's $10. I said, "What would you do?" He said, "I'd take it."
Yeah.
No, you don't ever take it. You don't ever take it. He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Here's what you do. Let's role play it." So we role played it. And I said, "Oh, no, sir. No. I wanted to help you out. You keep it. I don't know. Thank you anyway, but no." If the person then comes back a second time and says, "No, you take this," then you respond, you reach out your hand, take it gracefully, not grab it, take it gracefully and say, "Well, you don't need to do that, but thank you."
Good.
Good. So we role played it back and forth. And one time he even said, "Well, what if it's a lot of money?" I said, "Well, you can ask him. You can say, 'Well, how much would you have given me for this job?'" So he got that. And the next day, 12 hours later, fast forward, we're down in the Hampton Inn waffle line, the waffle.
Of course.
And he loves to pour the stuff in and make his own waffles. And he cut in front of this kid. He didn't really see, he was further back, so he didn't really know he was in line, but he was definitely in line. And he starts pouring. And then I look back and see this little boy who's probably 10 or 12. And I said, "Evan," I pointed at the kid. I said, you cut in front of him. He was in line. And Evan stopped. He goes, "Oh, I'm sorry." He goes, "You go ahead." And the kid goes, No, you go ahead." And Evan goes, No, you go ahead of me. And I'm thinking, this kid, I mean, I know it didn't involve money, but I thought he learned the lesson.
He got it.
And he got it. And, I'm sure later that day he would have beat the kid up. But
Right.
anyway, so I just thought stuff like that is just, and at 7 years old, they're sponges. They take in everything.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have a 7-year-old grandson or 7-year-old, teach them some of these more basic stuff like etiquette, just how to accept money from a person who wants to pay you. And, it's not a trick. It's just like, so anyway, I thought
That's fantastic.
I'm sure
I love that you role played with Evan.
Yeah.
7-year-old. I think it's fantastic.
Okay, now you be him. Okay, now I'll be him. Okay,
Yeah, you be him. No, so soften that up a little bit. No, a little more context first. It's fantastic. That's great. And I just picture the two boys, and then, no, you go ahead, just like really polite little boys, which is really,
they were.
Oftentimes they're the opposite.
Yeah.
Right? I was here first. No, I was here. That sort of thing. Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right. So that's my funny.
That's good. And sidebar too, but the kid waffle at the hotel is the greatest thing of every kid's trip ever. You could, doesn't matter. You could take them to the top of the Empire State Building, or take
it's the waffles.
It's the waffles. It's the hotel. It's the stuff you never think it is that they're the most memorable.
Yep.
Remember that conversation with Papa, and he's gonna remember making waffles with the boy. I'm telling you, it's funny. Okay, we're gonna go on. Bill came up with a very clever name for this topic. I was struggling in the prep series, hours of prep series, how to articulate this. And Bill said, this is like, is about LinkedIn and kind of like some pet peeve things. He goes, this is about being a good LinkedIn citizen. It's LinkedIn citizenship is what we want to talk about today. And if you listen to our podcast, Bill and I are both fans. If you follow us, that we're very, very active on LinkedIn. And by all means, Bill and I promote things on LinkedIn. We do. We got no problem with that. But when you look at the percentage of promotion versus what we've given to people, one being this podcast and 1,100 plus episodes over 18 years, we never charged a dime for, never promoted the podcast. I feel very imbalanced. And we have people now running around town who are teaching people LinkedIn strategies that all, I think, has bad intention behind it. It's all about getting and the vanity stats of getting shares and like and impressions and how to use it for marketing. It's marketing and reach and all this stuff. And I'm just feeling like it's lost its way a little bit. And so I want to talk about that with you, Bill, a little bit about how do we become really good LinkedIn citizens? How do we manage our own side of the fence here and not be over promoting and not game the system and all the things that I'm starting to see on LinkedIn that are just making me like question, like, man, I'm just careful with it. So
yeah.
Thoughts?
No, I think it's a great topic. And it's sometimes we drop into that, well, what do I need to say so that my audience will do? What can I say in my post so that they'll call me and book an appointment? And whenever there's that, I don't know what you call it, that result that you're after, I think it shades everything you do in the post, because it's all pointing toward you wanting something from them. What if you didn't want something from them? What if there was no desire on the back end? Now, I'm not saying don't leave your callback number, or don't say, hey, if you want to talk further about this, give me a call. I think that's fine. But what if it wasn't a blatant pitch and it was just really you serving an audience? Because that's the way I think I try to look at it. And I know I sometimes fail at that, but what can I say today or do today that's going to serve people who are in my audience and serve them with no expectation? And that's hard, because the bottom line is we're doing a lot of this LinkedIn stuff because we want something to happen.
Yes. And that's really great. The crux of this thing starts with our own intention and what we're after. And I think the pendulum has swung too far to I'm here to get something on LinkedIn. And so if we're talking about being good LinkedIn citizens, I want to swing the pendulum back and be weighted on the give something more than to get something. And I can't just think that. It starts with our thinking for sure. Then I also have to behave accordingly. And so I think the first thing is getting square with your energy without question of what am I here to do? Am I here to get? Everyone approaches it. They're like, okay, here's all the, there's like all these fish. Okay, I'm going to be, going to catch one of these fish. Okay, yeah, I can see him swimming. There at our Indiana State Fair, there's actually a fishing pond by the Indiana Department of Natural Resources. There's bluegill all over the place, and it's to get kids that don't normally fish to fish, and but you can see the fish. Is the point. And so they got these cane poles, that you just drop in with a bobber, bluegill, so a little fish. You see everyone there is trying to catch a fish, It feels like that to me. I can see the fish. I'm trying to catch them all. It just doesn't feel good to me from in terms of LinkedIn citizenship. So I have a first thing that I think about here is looking at even the style and tone of the things that you're putting out on LinkedIn.
Okay.
When people don't know what to do, they're going to default to getting. And what that looks like and sounds like at its core level, people will post things they'll forward their company's LinkedIn post. So the marketing team will put something together that says, hey, Caskey Neal commercial HVAC, we've been in business for 40 years. Call us for all your HVAC needs. All like terrible to me. And then a salesperson for that company will repost that up and say, would love to help you, give me a call if you've got a project you need me to look at or something like that. All about getting. I'm like, Or it could just be promoting something, hey, come to my webinar, come to my thing. That's all it is. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
So in lieu of that, in lieu, let's say that I have a webinar I'm doing or some kind of event and I want to promote it on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Let's talk about the best way to do that so that it doesn't come across the way you've just described.
Yes.
And it comes across a little bit more genuine and helpful and serving. And oh, by the way, we might be doing a webinar or an event that we'd like to, have you consider.
Yes.
What would be an alternative?
I personally like to see if I'm going to, even the event could be free. Oftentimes the webinar is free. So you're giving something. I still think there's a lead up to that says, here's something we're going to do, or here's just a clip. I mean, just putting up series of clips of things of maybe you and I talking about stuff before we ever ask anyone to come to a webinar. And sometimes they're connected and sometimes they're not. I try to put a lot of stuff on especially from our company page. It's just me teaching the tool and that's all it is. And it's just advice and there's no string tied to it. There's no anything.
Yeah. I think we all need to learn from that. I think that's the future of content, is being helpful, serving people. If you want to do a call to action occasionally, just make sure that it's not weird. The new word of the century. But there is a feeling I've heard from people who feel like, well, I don't want to teach my best stuff because then what will I have to sell?
Yes.
Or I don't want to expose my teaching because then they're going to know me and they're going to take advantage of me, or my competitor is going to see it. That's always my favorite.
Right.
Competitor is going to see it. Okay.
Oh my God.
If your competitor's on LinkedIn, they're probably doing something and you're not even looking at them. So come on. Right. I think I'm convinced that when I post a story, it gets a lot more action than when I post training or teaching. So if I say, Brian Neal came to me 6 months ago and he was struggling with A, B, and C, and he was trying to find a way to do this. And he'd been through 17 different classes and he came to me. And one of the first things that we realized was he was not thinking about sales in the right way. And so here are 3 things that I taught him, A, B, and C.
Yeah.
So now there's a story of a human being that you helped, or it might be your own story.
Yep.
So, here's how I took my income from X to Y, or here's how I solved the dilemma of lack of inspiration, or here's how I gained more control of the sales process. You don't want to always be the hero, but you want to acknowledge that, hey, I struggled with this thing. This thing was really hard for me. And that's more if you're a creator or a coach, somebody like you and I. It's probably not appropriate if you're selling SaaS. But there's still stories that you could tell.
Yes. And that's one of my other hangups. We've talked about this in a past episode, I believe. It's just the idea that there's now a creator part of LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So these people do things with the only intention is to build audience to sell. That's it. That's that's the intention of it. So it's gotten away from its core purpose for me. Here's a very tactical thing you can do. There's two elements to this. The first is there are a lot of people that are either looking for jobs or they're trying to hire people or they post something up. And it's amazing to me how many people see that and they just like it or scroll by it. And all of us know somebody who, is looking for a gig or something. So I'm a huge fan of either publicly, if you're comfortable with it, tagging someone in there that is looking for a gig and just tagging their name, just trying to put people together. Or if you don't feel comfortable, they may not feel comfortable, privately doing that in the message. So if Bill put something up, hey, I'm hiring a new AE, and I've got a friend, I'm like, hey, Bill, I saw your post there. I want to introduce you to my friend, Kristen over here.
Yeah.
She's great. I'm just going to let you guys take it, go from there, and I'm out. That to me is really good LinkedIn citizenship.
Yeah.
It's trying to make the connections for each other better. Never keep score on that. And if you're listening to this, I'm guessing you don't do that very often. And I think it's cool to do unsolicited too. I think it's cool to say, hey, Bill, I've been following Bill for a long time and I've been following Tom for a long time. You guys are in adjacent businesses. I think you should know each other.
Yeah.
That's it. Put people together. It's a connecting device. And I think that's where the citizenship comes in, is to see it from that.
I love that. I love that. And so let's talk as we close here about someone who maybe is not doing as much as they should on LinkedIn. They know that it's a platform where their customers or their prospects are. They know that.
Yeah.
There was a time 10 years ago where we weren't sure about that. I don't think there's any question that your people are there. So, but I'm still not producing things that will allow other people to distribute these things or speak to my clients. What kind of advice do you give to your clients who are in that mode?
That's a good question. I'll give two little versions. The first version is, if you have a social media habit elsewhere, you tether those together. So what happens is people are like, well, I'm not very active on LinkedIn. And I go, are you active on any other social media? 8 times out of 10, they're like, yeah. I'm like, which one? And then they'll like look down like they did something wrong. They'll go Instagram, Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how many? And then I'll go, be honest, how many times a day are you on Facebook? 8 to 12. I'm like, okay. So you're capable of having a social media habit. Just tether the two together. So the point is, anytime you do like post or on that, you have to do post on the other thing. So that's one thing to tether them together. The second thing on the actual what to do, of all the things to do on LinkedIn, something is the easiest for you. It could be that tagging a person could be easy for you. It could be forwarding a post and saying, hey, just you see some people do this, reposting for reach. Because that's part, so that happens a lot. You can just put, so if someone's looking for a job, like, hey, I'm looking for my next gig, just reposting, trying to help my friend Bill here. That's all you got to say, and it's just good karma. It's being a good citizen, good LinkedIn citizen doing that. That'd be my 2 answers on that.
Yeah, those are good. I would just have one to add to that. And that is, if you're not doing what you should be doing, it's because you haven't embraced the power of the platform. You just haven't embraced it. You don't see a direct line between you posting something or you connecting and a business result. And I know we just said that, well, you don't want to be too tied to business results. But the fact is that if you're not on LinkedIn, you're obscure.
Yes.
Obscurity is your biggest competitor. It's not the person down the street or in your marketplace. It's obscurity. That's going to define you. So at the very least, embrace the idea of being findable and being seekable and being watchable and consumable. And if you just say, you know what, I don't care whether people buy from me or not, but I do want to have a presence out there. I do want to help people, because chances are, if you've been in your business more than 3 months, there's probably something you've learned that could really help people.
Absolutely. There's no doubt.
Yeah. And we don't always look at it that way. We look at, what am I going to get out of it? Like we said in the very beginning, the lead up to this, but just embrace the idea that this is a free platform. Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this a lot. He says, look, this is a gift. You've got a free platform. You don't have to spend money on advertising. And LinkedIn is probably the best of all the platforms in terms of not needing to spend cash to advertise. You don't get tons of reach. You get maybe 10% of your people, but that's 10% you wouldn't have if you didn't.
Yeah, it's great. and it's free. And it's so busy that you're just not, you're going to, stay, you don't need to risk anything here. There's no risk that people are going to like see you and you're going to blow up the internet or anything. Just don't say anything stupid. You'll be fine. You know what I mean? But I love the idea of being findable and seekable and all those things. And you will live in obscurity if you stay off of LinkedIn.
Yeah.
No question.
And I saw a number the other day, and I think we've mentioned this on the show, that of all, I don't know, hundreds of millions, whatever there are on LinkedIn, you know what percent of people are actually creating content? 3%.
Oh, no way. Really?
3%. So a small, minute fraction of people who are on are actually creating, whether it's blogs, whether it's articles, or whether it's text posts or videos. 3%. That probably even is high. Who knows? I always, whenever I hear a percentage, I think, well, who published that and what do they have to stand? What do they gain by making the number high or low? But let's just say it is 3. That means that 97% of people are only consuming. So why don't you be a part of the 3%? It doesn't take that long to do. Be a part of the 3. Yeah.
So good.
You should.
If you're not part of our LinkedIn group, go there.
Yep.
And be a good LinkedIn citizen in the LinkedIn group. Don't sell yourself. Try to make connections, find people, interact, try to help people, do all those sorts of things. And while you're at it, join the Insider program because it's fantastic. I promise it's the biggest bang for your buck going in sales coaching in the world for sure. So I think that's it for now. Anything else?
Good job. We'll see you next time. Let us know. Yeah. Connect with us on LinkedIn and let us know what if you have a topic that we haven't covered for a while or ever, let us know.
That'd be fun.
We'd love to not cover it.
Exactly. Stay in obscurity. Yeah, that's right. So, okay. Go be a good LinkedIn citizen.
See you.
Next time. Bye.